Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome in. Another great sports
that
weekend.
might be my favorite sign yet.
Pretty much capped off by that, which we will get into all of that. But hopefully you guys had a good sports viewing weekend and we're safe. Stayed out of the debauchery that took place in downtown LA, except for that one guy, which we'll also get to. But
that's my
thank you
dude
guys
right there.
for tuning in. Hope you did have a good weekend and took in as much of the sports as possible. I know with now basketball being wrapped up, we're getting, and baseball, week and a half, 2 weeks away from wrapping up. We're going to lose some of these super weekends that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been our only little extra cherry, with all the craziness of this pandemic as far as sports fans. But enjoy it while it lasts. Still a lot of notable events going on. Tyler, how was your weekend?
It wasn't, it was up and down. Unfortunately, Saturday here at the house, we lost our internet for most of the day, so I wasn't able to watch as much college football as I wanted to. Pretty much if it wasn't on the rabbit ears most of the day, I wasn't able to watch it, but still got to see some action. Caught some UFC, of course, full day Sunday of NFL, and of course NBA finals, baseball playoffs going on. So it was, it was good fun weekend. Ronnie, you probably had yourself a day yesterday. Got a nice Raiders win, got a nice Lakers championship. You probably had a pretty good Sunday.
Yesterday was an excellent day.
Yeah.
As I celebrate here, I know the Dodgers probably going to bring me back down to earth today a little bit, but
they might.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll keep you guys posted on that. That's going on right now. Game 1 of the NLCS.
Yes.
The Lakers. I still was thinking they were going to win the series. It seemed like they finally had that game where everyone showed up and really kind of stepped on the neck of a team that Jimmy Butler was killing himself to keep alive.
Mm-hmm.
Dragic was still sort of trying to be like a decoy or just insert himself into actually trying to play somehow. Didn't really work out. We saw the video, a few days ago where he was trying to warm up and he was trying to guard like a ball boy, and even he turned one. He was like, "No, I had to sit down."
Yeah.
So, still thought the outcome of the series was not really in doubt. Although, if the Heat managed to win that game, at that point, I would say all bets are off, and the pressure would all be on the Lakers.
Sure.
If you had a team down like that, a super undermanned team, and you end up blowing it, then you're feeling a lot of pressure. But they took care of business. But Raiders, that was a more unexpected and
a pleasant surprise.
Not more special than a championship. I'm not, an idiot, but
sure.
A long time coming. They have not beaten the Chiefs. Derek Carr has never beaten the Chiefs.
No.
And they haven't won, I think, an Arrowhead in 8 years. So that was very satisfying. Also nerve-wracking, though, which we'll get into a little bit more. I think anyone really a fan of any team, though, if you are in the lead, it's like it sucks when you're in the lead against a Pat Mahomes team because you're just like, this guy,
it's gonna happen. He's gonna come back. Like that's all you're thinking the whole time.
Yeah, there was a lot of points in that game where I was like, oh my god, dude. Even and there's also the Raider factor of they're known to let some games slip away, shall we say? But
I know how that goes.
Let's start right with the big stuff. The Lakers did get the championship last night.
Mm-hmm.
Really just put it on the Heat pretty early on. It was never really in question.
Yeah.
A couple things right off the top that, well, just one thing in particular. A lot of Laker Twitter, social media people, Snoop Dogg even on his Instagram, which was pretty entertaining. He's a super uber Laker fan.
Yeah.
Mentioning that, oh, Danny Green, it's cool. Like your back part of we're not going to take your ring away. We had the whole thing of there was like a petition started online to not give him a ring and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Danny Green played pretty well, shot pretty well last night, but it did bother me that it was like, I think I texted this to Jeff at one point. Danny Green's like the best shooter in NBA history with a 30-point lead in the closeout game of the finals. Like, thanks for all your help. Like, yes, okay. But Kuzma still didn't really play well, so I could still bash him. But, yeah, the Lakers just did what they had to do. You could see pretty clearly that Jimmy Butler was just completely gassed out.
Just exhausted, yeah.
I mean, the legs... We saw the video, I don't know if we played it here on the show or not, of him sort of limping off the podium.
No, because that was after we ended the show on Friday.
Right. So, but you've probably seen it around on ESPN or on their social media platforms, whatever. And that was kind of the effort it took just to get those 2 games. I mean, I think everyone has, for a while, like several years now, regarded Jimmy Butler as kind of a dog. Like if he is engaged with the team, like a guy you want to be in a foxhole with.
Yeah.
But I am glad that this playoffs really seemingly raised his stature up even a little bit more.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe not quite superstar, but damn close, if not in the league. Like this guy is a force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's motivated, I mean, I think they just came into this whole bubble. Like we're the 5th seed. Nobody expects us, anything from us. We're going to be stuck here. Might as well just fucking try to win the whole thing. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, ran into some injuries. And, a really good Laker team, let's be honest.
Sure. I mean, they were the 1 seed for a reason.
Yeah, and the whole NBA season had pretty much played out anyway. So
yeah,
we were just really talking about are we going to have the playoffs or not? I know there was a couple play-in games, seeding type games like the NHL sort of did. And some of that, they play out the season, fulfill the regional sports network contracts.
Right.
But also just get guys playing again after sitting around forever.
Instead of just diving right into a playoff.
Yeah, because they could have, had a proposal where, and they wouldn't have for that reason, but like, okay, we're going to come back, play even like some games that maybe don't even count and just do the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But then they had the expanded playoffs and, they got the games back going. And I thought it was a pretty fair outcome of the tournament.
I agree.
Whatever LeBron does, everyone's going to bash him no matter what.
Yeah.
For better or worse, that's just how it is and is always going to be. I see. Well, I don't really put too much stock, obviously, in what Skip Bayless says, but him saying that the best thing that happened to the Lakers is they didn't have to play the Clippers, which I'm kind of like, the Clippers look like they. And then everything that, as a team, the individual players said afterwards seemed like they were not at all on the same page.
Yeah.
And the stories coming out of there, it was like, I would take my chances against the Clippers because they seemed like they were just falling apart. But whatever. And you didn't have to play the Bucks. So you didn't have to play what? It's like the Bucks look like crap against the Heat.
The Bucks look bad, yeah.
The Heat punched them right in the mouth. And okay, that was supposed to be like the Lakers didn't have to play them. So it's not a real, I think it's stupid. And I'm glad that they were able to finish the season. I think I'm happy for all the players from all the teams just being able to leave the bubble because that had to be just sort of like mind-numbing being stuck in there.
Oh, yeah. Seriously.
Like we said, I mean, even LeBron's kids were like, probably not going to go. It seems kind of boring.
I miss you, Dad, but what am I going to do?
Also, to that note, a lot of funny memes about Bronny waiting for LeBron to come home last night. If you could research into that. If you're curious as to why, but a lot of funny memes about that. And really just happy for my guy, J.R. Smith.
J.R.
As you saw in the opening there, now has as many rings as the entire Knicks franchise.
True.
Former Knick, a.k.a. the Pipe God, a.k.a. Swish. Just a legendary NBA figure. A couple things. Well, I have a lot of stuff J.R. Smith related. I'm just going to be honest with you guys because I thought that whole thing was very interesting. Got to. This, which we covered on the show when this happened, this was during the height of the pandemic, before the bubble really got going, or maybe right at the beginning of it, and also with the sort of protesting things going on and stuff like that. J.R. Smith did fend off a looter or ran him down that tried to
beat
smash
the shit out of him
truck.
Is what he did.
So there you have how it started, how it ended.
There we go.
There he is, of course, shirtless, but with a ring.
Yeah.
Also, I know Mike Breen hilariously on the broadcast mentioned that J.R. Smith is already shirtless on the sideline. And you can see actually zoomed in there. Yes, there he is. 15 seconds to go. That shirt is long gone. Who knows where that is? And also, just not to get off the J.R. Smith thing, because I got J.R. Smith, I got like 40 minutes on J.R. No, I'm just kidding.
For days, yeah. But this is J.R. Smith show.
This is your Clipper team that the Lakers were so fortunate to dodge.
Ooh.
Leading by 17 minutes. Up 3-1 in the series. Or 17 points with a minute and a half left in the third quarter.
Up
with a 3-1 series lead.
Ooh.
So, is that really, how do you... And they blew the games in the worst
all
possible
with
way.
Leads.
All the way.
Yeah, all with leads.
Not yet. But, so I'm not really worried about the Clippers. You saw the montage about the Clippers, and Snoop Dogg made his feelings very clear about the Clippers.
Hmm.
Ranked them below, I think, high school teams, the Drew League,
yeah,
the Sparks.
the pickup game over at
Venice Beach pickup
Yeah.
games where, you have Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson running.
That's right.
All of them rank higher than the Clippers on the LA basketball consciousness. So J.R. Smith, for one, it's getting exciting when he's getting shirtless after a championship. And a lot of good celebrations. I was very happy to see him. First thing I was looking for is J.R. Smith going on Instagram Live. And yes.
Of course he is.
Yes, he
is.
was.
Don't even ask that.
Partying up. Bumping a little Chief Keef there in the locker room. I think he also dropped his phone in a ice bucket, it looked like, there at one point. Actually, the funniest thing to come off of his live, though, last night was I saw the tweet, and I missed this on the video because it was like later on when they had left the actual the arena. But it was revealed on his Instagram Live that the team bus left Quinn Cook behind. And J.R. Smith, the rest of these guys on the bus did not even know until they saw Quinn Cook commenting on his videos. Like, hey, come back. I'm still over here. Make a U-turn. Or you see right here, got to walk back after I win an effing ring. What the fuck? And I was able to go back and find the video, which was pretty great. So I have to enjoy that as well.
It was always Snoop for me. QC, where QC at? Yo, we left QC, bro.
Shit, what is they talking about, bro? Them niggas be hating.
Hey, yo, hey, yo, QC said, tell him to come back and get him, yo. Cheese, we left him. We left QC, bro.
QC got the fly. QC,
Look,
you sure you got the fly, boy? We was looking for you. Got the fly. Back in the Red Bull and get the wee. Hey, smack.
Oh, man. I love it. He finds out on the video. He's like, hey, guys, we left Quinn. And they're just like, nope, leave him. He'll have to walk. He'll have to find his way back. Just completely savage there. But happy for J.R. Smith, one of the most fascinating, shall we say, characters in recent NBA history.
Very well put.
Yeah, and I think, what's his name? Waiters. Well, I guess Waiters is going to get a ring either way, technically, because he was on the Heat. Then he got
That's true. Yeah,
benched
that's
and
right.
traded.
He was on the roster.
He had nothing to lose. But Dwight Howard gets his first ring. He was pretty emotional as well on his social media platform. Saw some video from him. Actually had another tweet here. I don't know if I have the picture of it, but JaVale McGee now has 3 rings. So think about that. He's got more than Wilt Chamberlain, a whole bunch of guys.
A lot of people.
Yeah, and they had, of course, a ridiculous, hilarious photo, a Shaqtin' a Fool-esque photo of JaVale to accompany that, where he's like, just making some crazy face. But happy for AD too. Also, the first of probably at least 1 or 2 more, you would think, with the trajectory that he's on.
Don't forget, Antetokounmpo got a ring too.
Oh, that's right. The other one.
Just not Giannis, yeah.
The other one, that's right.
Yeah.
But yes, very happy about the Lakers getting that. They tie the Celtics for 17 all time. I know there was some Celtics fan field debate as to whether or not all of the Lakers count the Minneapolis ones, but do we really have to go into that?
It's the Lakers franchise. It's they count. Like, stop with that already. Plus, again, as I was telling Ronnie before, Zach Lowe did a podcast there where he said, look, if the Celtics want to go down that route, you got to think like 9 of your championships came when there were like 8 teams in the league. So,
and Bill Russell, a 6'8" center, was just dominating a bunch of like 5'11" white guys. So, I mean, if we're really going to dive into it,
they count, guys. They count.
And now, I mean, the Celtics are still good. So, as far as I'm concerned, the race to 18 is on. I can see either of them getting the next one first. So we will wait and see. But also, just as a Laker fan, it's just everything that's gone on this year, 2020 has sucked. It started off right at the beginning with Kobe passing away. So it did mean a lot just to all the Laker fans out there. As we were kind of saying earlier about the Clippers, and even really, we're both Dodger fans. And I know a lot of like the Padre fans that I work with here have this notion that, you know, the Dodgers are the super rich team. Like it's like they only care about them when they're winning, blah, blah, blah. And LA is kind of like that in a lot of things. But LA is a Laker town. I mean,
yeah, it is.
Take a look at the two football teams. I mean, no one really cares about the Chargers, in LA.
Yeah.
Even the Rams are like the third or fourth banana over there. And they're pretty damn good.
There's probably more Raiders fans in LA than there are Rams fans.
I would say for sure there are.
Yeah.
Or fans of other teams, like 49er fans, Cowboy fans, you know, these teams that have national Steeler fans, whatever. But the Laker love affair by the city of LA, it's not really like anything else. It is a Laker town, like all the way. And there's no similar buzz in LA sports-wise compared to when the Lakers are good.
The Dodgers are incredibly popular. Like, that's not saying like nobody cares. Like, LA cares about the Dodgers, but the Lakers is just a whole nother level there. It is a Laker town. It will always be a Laker town.
And that brings me to my final point, which I knew was going to happen. I hoped it wouldn't happen, but I already knew it was going to happen. Of course, Laker fans, as they are wont to do when the Lakers win, took to the streets.
Oh, yeah.
So a couple things on that. Like I said, it seems like this has been a thing, especially with starting with the early 2000s championship runs. This one, I will say, at least seemed a little less destructive as far as like flipping over cars. And
no cars being overturned, yeah.
But still, clearly just getting together. You saw a couple masks in the video. But
I counted 4.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot of definitely not any social distancing that I could see.
No.
So, and I believe I saw this morning 70-something arrests at least overnight. Hopefully not for anything too crazy. And, you know, on the one hand, I get some of it. It's been a long, emotional year for a lot of Laker fans, losing one of the all-time Lakers, but not the best look there. You know, I knew it was going to happen. Unfortunately, it did exactly happen how I thought it would. But I got to give a shout-out to one guy.
This guy.
Who went out and hit the streets, celebrated responsibly.
Yes.
My guy brought his own bubble.
Yes.
So this
genius.
Guy, he may even have a mask on under there. He has something around his neck. I see beads. I don't know if he has like a scarf or something. But one guy was taking the protocol seriously. So kudos to this man.
That's my guy right there.
Rolling in the bubble.
He was inspired by the late 90s Jake Gyllenhaal movie Bubble Boy.
I believe, yes. This might be an original prop.
It actually might be Jake Gyllenhaal under that. I'm not sure.
Could be Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah. Jakey G. Celebrating responsibly.
Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, you're right. Like, we knew that was going to happen. We knew, you know, crowds were going to go crazy and all that. And, yeah, I mean, you know, only 4 masks. That was just from, you know, again, I completely understand the celebrating, especially like you said. It's been the emotional year with the loss of Kobe Bryant. But, you know, I was hoping to see some more masks out there. I kind of knew that was going to happen. Unfortunate. But, look, props to the Lakers, man. They, I mean, they were awesome this year. There we go. There it is. You know, LeBron getting the Finals MVP, well deserved. That's his 4th time, and he's the first player to do it 3 different franchises. Averaging 30 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. Anthony Davis putting up what I think was like 26 and 9, something like that, were his numbers. So I mean, you know, great series from both guys. LeBron just, you know, we were talking about Jimmy Butler earlier, who I texted Ron after Friday's game. I think this guy is my new favorite player. Like, Jimmy Butler, just, you know, he had nothing left in Game 6. He absolutely left it all out there. You know, you can't. I will take no slander of the guy if somebody wants to, you know, try and call him a loser. I will accept no slander of that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Even as a
LeBron.
Laker fan, I was in awe of what he was doing out there because it was like this is almost like a guy just playing off pure spite, and it's working. Like
I had texted you on Friday. We were texting because that was the first game that the Lakers lost in the playoffs wearing the Mamba jerseys, and I said like Kobe would respect the hell out of a guy going out there and beating a team wearing some like tribute jersey, like
even if it was his own tribute. I'm sure
exactly. I think Kobe actually respects that more.
I'm into it.
Yeah. So I mean, all the props to little Jimmy Butler, and he said. What I like even more is, I saw some comments from him today where he said, look, I didn't live up to my end of the bargain. We haven't won yet. So now he's just motivated to come back more and finish the job. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Hopefully they can keep their guys healthy. I mean, not making excuses at all. But, you can tell it hurt them. Again, not making excuses. Lakers capitalized. Lakers were the better team. I mean, I think, fully healthy, Lakers probably win in 7, but who knows. But props to LeBron. Again, he was kind of looking a little bit old and worn out at times, but again, he still managed to come back. He's still, getting a dang near triple double every game. Of course, now the whole thing's going to be, the debate's already started. Hammer MJ, which we'll leave that to talking heads on the radio. Like it's really an irrelevant discussion, but
not anything I'm super into anyway. But it's going to happen regardless. Yeah. So I don't think, you can just turn on First Take every day and probably hear about it until the next season starts in Christmas or whatever.
You can watch Skip Bayless argue one side one week and the very next week argue the exact opposite side. So, but no, props to the Lakers. Again, props to LeBron. I'm glad he got the MVP. I know there was kind of talk that maybe AD would get it, but I thought, how could you not give it to LeBron? That offense runs through him. The reason AD is getting so many open looks is because of LeBron. So, plus I've always got my issues with AD that he's not down there, getting 10 rebounds a game every night, whereas LeBron is down there getting, 11 rebounds a night. So, but that's a personal bias thing. That's just a me thing. But again, big props to LeBron, well deserved.
Well, and in the games too, where the game where AD had foul trouble early on, LeBron was pretty much keeping him going by himself, or AD just really wasn't being aggressive, like going at guys. It's LeBron's still showing up and probably giving you a triple double. Yeah. So you still have that baseline of like we're probably going to be in this until the last few minutes at least, just with him out there, and he's playing most of the minutes even at 35 years old. Yeah. So I thought there was no other choice. My sentimental pick was playoff Rondo.
Because, oh boy!
First of all, he had a huge game last night, but. Yeah. I thought ever since he rejoined the team in the middle of the playoffs, he definitely had a better kind of disposition, focus.
Yeah, definitely.
Just with the seriousness, the hatefulness of Rondo.
Yeah, playoff Rondo is a real thing, man. It's impressive to see.
We'll see. We'll see going forward, but maybe let Jimmy Butler, limping off of the podium after the game be a lesson. Maybe we just don't care that much about your pregame outfits on Instagram. Maybe just get a little bit better at basketball. Focus on that. I don't think Kobe would be into all these Instagram posts if he were here. But it worked out for the Lakers. I'm satisfied about that, and we'll see what happens for who's going to get to 18 first. I think the Celtics still have a good shot next year. The Heat also have a good shot. The Bucks are still going to be there depending on what happens. I know they're trying to appease Greek Freak by bringing someone else over or whatever they can do. Raptors still going to be around. Just seem like a pretty well-run team in general. We haven't even seen the Nets because their two best players didn't play at all this year.
Don't forget the Nuggets are only going to get better.
I'm interested to see what kind of seed the Heat would be in the playoffs next year, because over the course of what may or may not be a full 80-game season, it might be a little shorter because they're starting at Christmas, but they're not going to get just overlooked even in a regular season game. Like if you're the Bucks or you're the Nets or someone like that, and it's 20 games into the season, it's not just like a walkover game. Like, oh, it's a regular season. It's kind of a bigger game now because of what they showed us in these playoffs. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm excited for it. And also wanted to back up Nick's point. I thought the NBA did a really good job with the bubble. some of the logistic things I've seen behind the scenes as far as like the amount of staff that it took to put this on. We talked about the NBA was spending $1 million a day to run this. I saw like a 5-minute video just about the catering, like the chefs they brought in there after the initial, all the NBA players were kind of like, this is the food and it's kind of not great. And it was all done by Disney at that point.
Yeah.
And then the NBA was like, all right, we'll bring in chefs, dietitians, whatever, better, healthier meals. And, they took care of that too. So, and the main thing is they didn't have one single positive test. So the bubble worked in that regard. I mean, they played it out and there was no COVID related delays. Like, we're about to get into football here and that's just completely unraveling right now. And they're far away from any point where they could reach a bubble still being week, 5. So it did work. I mean, the NHL bubble came off as well. Got to give just as far as the organization of that, it seemed like that was a huge mobilization of people. And just as far as like from the player standpoint, happy for them to be able to leave because you're just there and that's it. Like, yes, I want to keep winning games, but that means back to the hotel. Okay.
Yeah, definitely not an easy time there, but no, props to them, props to the NBA, props to the NHL for pulling the bubbles off and
he's coming in,
giving us a great product.
Firing shots at the low TV ratings. Can't be denied. It definitely cannot be denied. But I would say this is beyond the TV ratings, a very special Laker championship because of the Kobe thing, because of tying the Celtics. So I would put it up there. But yeah, I mean, the TV thing I think will eventually come back, especially we saw a lot of talent that people, if you really follow the NBA closely, you knew it was out there, but a lot of guys had breakouts. Murray, Lillard has been around, but he really showed well as far as like getting into the bubble just to get his team qualified. Adebayo on the Heat, Tyler Hero, just guys just popping up and really showing well. So I think the future of the league from a talent standpoint is in really good hands. Tyler, welcome back to the program.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I had some little technical difficulties there, but glad to be back. Exactly.
I had to get you one.
Nah, hey, it's well deserved. I'll say that.
But I'm glad, like I said, main thing is they pulled it off. It wasn't like baseball. I do think you got the best teams in it at this point, but there's always going to be some kind of thing attached to it because it was a 60-game season and then a different playoff format and, everything that goes into that. Basketball, I feel like, don't really have to put an asterisk on this one. They had already played the season.
Not at all.
The teams were pretty much seeded out and, what happened was going to happen. So, Lakers, let's go. Number 17. That's all I got to say. Woo.
Yeah. No, there you go.
Hold on. No, that's better.
Oh, man, I knew something felt wrong.
That took a very serious physical strain for me to do that too. Pull these things apart.
You're gonna be limping off the podium after the show tonight.
I had to do it.
It's all good. But so we can jump in here now to you kind of touched on it a second ago, the NFL. Decent slate of games this weekend, although we are having one game for sure postponed. Another one tomorrow that as of right now is going on, but who even knows? And
for my fantasy team, I hope no.
And for mine, I hope yes. I think I have guys from both teams going.
I need this.
And then I didn't really fully see but I guess they've moved around games for like 8 different teams in the upcoming weeks just to accommodate
your
everything.
Chargers are like the most affected team, and they're completely innocent of the whole thing.
Yes. Well, look, we pointed that out last week. Is like, look, they were making all these movements for like all these teams, and then the one team that caused this all, Tennessee, has received no punishment yet. So
and they're still trying to force their game to go on, even though they just had another positive test over the weekend, and they're still planning on playing that. The facility was shut down today. They're still planning on playing tomorrow, so gonna be weird. I
saw some headlines of them just pulling up like all these practice squad guys to just fill out the roster. So, I would say, again, always anything we say here regarding gambling is for entertainment purposes only.
course.
But I don't know what the line is, but maybe you might want to hammer the Buffalo line because they don't have practice squad players on their team. So
yeah, that would be a big boost right there. Just having actual NFL players, you think would help.
Yeah.
Some of these XFL guys coming over, Canadian football players, being added furiously to the Titans just to fill out a team. We'll see what happens there. But this was one of the red zone weekends where you had a lot in the morning. I think there were 7 games. Couple interesting things that stood out. Of course, you see right at the top, Atlanta loses again shortly after the game. It was announced that, in fact, yes, Dan Quinn and the GM, Dimitrov, were
gone.
Finally fired. I think anyone could see that coming for a while now.
He looks like the villain in like an 80s action movie with just the spike hair and the glasses.
But unfortunately, him and Stone Cold both get fired.
Yeah.
So you would think Stone Cold would be the hero, maybe, but no.
It's the Condemned 2. That's what this is.
So and I mean, that's all pretty much just been spiraling in Atlanta since they lost the Super Bowl. And then Shanahan left and went to the 49ers. And I think Quinn's probably been about 500 since that point, actually, based on some of the stats I've seen. So it just sort of kind of put some kind of shadow, aura around that franchise when that happened. And then you saw the Dallas game earlier this year.
Oh, God.
And some bad losses where they just really no excuse to be losing those games. Certainly not all of those games like they did. So that just had to happen. Arthur Blank is one of the weirdest owners in football because he just has a weird devotion. I mean, which is cool if you're a player or a coach for him. Like, you have to respect, I'd rather have that than just my guy Al Davis just hating everyone, calling the plays in from the press box or whatever. But a little prone to hanging on a little too long, shall we say. He was very loyal to Mike Vick when he was there.
True.
All these, a lot of Arthur Blank things have come out over the years, but that finally happened. Next one down, the Raiders. Big win. Super excited about that. That probably, I hesitate to say, but I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say that makes my whole season because
that's it. Just wrap it up. I
really don't think any, playoff runs are in the future. They still need better players, especially on defense. But their defense played pretty well. They frustrated Mahomes as much as you can. I think I saw a stat on SportsCenter that he's lost 9 games, first of all, since he became the starter, which is ridiculous.
Insane.
And he scored like 30 points in each of those 9 losses, which is a record. He's a freak. And there was a couple times in that game where I already mentioned, yes, as a Raider fan, I've seen the worst of the worst as far as them blowing games they should have had.
Sure.
But he's never out of it. We saw in the Super Bowl last year, Garoppolo misses pretty much a wide open guy, throws it 10 yards over his head. Mahomes just looking at his watch like, oh, yeah, we got enough time. Next thing you know, he's getting the ring. He converted on like 3rd and 20s, which is almost like, obviously that is a higher leverage spot for the defense in most cases. But when you have Mahomes back there, it's kind of like a trap because any conventional defense that you would play against someone that's 3rd and 20, whether it's like a huge blitz or the dreaded prevent, whatever, like just keep them 20 yards, in front of you.
Yeah.
Neither of those really apply because he can just extend the play and throw from across his body from any angle.
Or he'll run it, or
he had a 3rd and 20 in the game that he nailed the guy like in the chest, and the guy just dropped it. Like he would have converted that, and it was like 3rd and 20. So, and then they still went down, scored like pretty easily in about 2 minutes to get into back within 1 score, and I was sweating it. I mean, if it was any other team, or I guess any other quarterback, I would have been feeling pretty confident at that point. 4 or 5 minutes left, but I was like, dude, this guy is unreal. And he showed that again, but a couple of mistakes by the Chiefs, and the Raiders defense, not a great performance, but they made the plays that need to be made at the key times.
A good enough performance.
Which is not usually the case with them, so I will take that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to be happy. But I mean, there was somebody actually in my big money fantasy league that was saying that they had a 6-leg parlay, and the one that they lost was they bet the Chiefs money line.
Ooh,
But I think there was about 5 minutes left, and the Raiders were up by 16. And he sent me a message like, oh man, I just lost this because of the Chiefs. And I said, dude, 5 minutes, like 16 points in 5 minutes to this team is nothing. And then sure enough, they went right down the field and scored. Which of course, in their next possession, I believe was it a pick that ended it? I can't remember, but
he threw a pick with like 5 minutes left. Jacobs had a good game. Waller had a good game too.
Carr actually had some nice long throws, which was surprising.
Ruggs had his best game of his young career. I am excited by Ruggs. He made some tough catches too, especially the first one in the first quarter. He's not really known as just like a great catching receiver, but he is fast as hell. So, like the game where they beat the Saints, probably not a great stats game for him, but he probably gave them like 80 yards and like 3 different penalties where he was just flying past the guy and had to grab him because he is that fast. And we're talking about against NFL DBs here too, so this is like Olympic level fast. So I'm encouraged by that. Carr's, still who knows if he wants to throw the ball down the field, but it's nice that you at least have a guy that could theoretically take the top off a defense that could be back there. So maybe he gets a little less short army when it comes to those. Their offense hasn't really been the problem. I just think they need a little more talent on defense, but they did make the plays, and that was a very nice way to get my Sunday going.
There you go. Another game I wanted to –
we know that.
Jets. Now, one of the games I want to talk about, and I see that Jaime actually commented on that here, was the Miami-San Francisco. Oh, San Francisco, like how – while I was watching this game in my head, I was thinking, like, how did San Francisco win 2 games? But then I remembered they played the Jets and the Giants, so that explains everything.
The very soft part of their schedule.
But, this is that team was in the Super Bowl this year. Like, it was not even 12 months ago. They were in the Super Bowl, and now they just look helpless. Like, their offensive line is terrible. All 3 of their quarterbacks are no good, which you could always say is as a result of a terrible offensive line. The defense is still good in theory. They're just always out on the field, so they're just getting tired, getting worn out.
But no Bosa also.
No Bosa hurts. Absolutely, that hurts. But, the Niners, that's man, I did not see their quick downfall. I mean, look, it's only week 5. They could still turn stuff around, although they're in that division that is just
pretty
that division is going to be a dogfight. Yeah, they're the only team under 500 in that division, so that's it's going to be tough sledding for them to make a comeback into the playoffs. Although there is that last wild card spot now that opened up, so maybe they got hope there. But they got to figure some stuff out because they are not looking good.
Yeah, and I mean, historically speaking, there have been some. I don't know if it would be a hangover or what, but the team that loses the Super Bowl kind of has like a rough go the next time out. So it could be a little bit of that. You're not sneaking up on anyone at this point, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the injuries do hurt, but probably shouldn't be losing by that much of a margin at home to the Dolphins.
No.
The Dolphins, I will say, are not totally a.
They're not bad. No, they're not bad.
Solid. They were coming on late last year, and they've been pretty competitive in most of the games this year. They almost had a chance against the Seahawks. We were just talking about that NFC West division. It was, that came down to the last 5-6 minutes of the game too. But still, you would think the 49ers would not, even if you do lose, not in that fashion. That was pretty surprising. We were watching it up till halftime. It was 30-7, and even the resident 49er fan producer Tanaya agreed to turn it off.
Of course, the other big news coming out of yesterday in the afternoon games was Dallas getting the win over the Giants, but ultimately losing. The unfortunate, horrific injury to Dak Prescott. Definitely going to be done for the year, probably longer. Absolutely hate to see it. It's if you haven't seen it, I would say don't bother looking at the picture. Let's just say his knee was facing one way and his toes were pointing another direction. It's
that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, if you want to go seek it out, all power to you. But yeah, not. I saw it inadvertently in a group text that was a tweet, but it was just the screenshot of the moment, and I was like, thank you for sending that. I was
Yeah.
trying not to see it. I didn't see it on TV, but now it's been forced upon me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Andy Dalton came in, played pretty well. He's still Andy Dalton, so who knows? And the
Yeah.
division is really bad.
Awful.
So
Yeah.
anything is possible there, but it does suck for a guy that took the franchise tender. Still a good amount, I think $30-something million. It's not like he's destitute.
Right. But for 1 year and no guarantee down the line.
Right. And quarterbacks, when they re-up, especially ones that could either get franchised or get the re-up or have been franchised and then get the contract, it's usually the one that sets the record. So it would have been a lot more money. And now we'll see what happens. And I think also, just seems like not a bad dude. Also, a lot of players from around the league were just saying it's kind of a bummer. Obviously for the contract thing, they're all working under the same rules when it comes to that. But also just no one really bashing him. I mean, he just seems like a decent human being. So that does suck.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see what Dallas, how they can recover. I mean, like you said, the division is awful. I think even without Dak, they're probably still the favorite to win the division.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. But you know what? I guess in good injury-related news, of course, there was the touching moment of Alex Smith getting back on the field, which absolutely shocked. I will say shocked me. I think you and I have both been saying this whole time, like, look, we saw that video of him walking with the air cast and like almost getting taken out by a little kid. Like, watching those plays where he was on the field, as soon as he dropped back, like I was holding my breath, like, oh God, please don't do it. Don't do it.
I was watching Red Zone, like I was telling you guys. And when Allen got hurt, they cut to that game. I mean, they were not in the red zone, but it was just like for the, noteworthiness of it for that first sequence, and completed like a little like check down 2-3 yard pass. On the third play, Aaron Donald sacked him and literally jumped on his back. And I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
And I think he got sacked like 4 or 5 times in the game. I mean, the Rams had like 7 sacks or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So apparently he's fine. I was holding my breath. I mean, it is very just impressive, inspiring that he was able to, let alone play, like walk.
The fact that he can walk
normally and play in an NFL game says a lot about just, wanting to get back out there and play. But, man, every one of those sacks, I was like, oh, God, not this one, not this one. You could see, and his family, I mean, the kids are pretty young, so maybe they didn't have, but his wife was kind of sweating it a little bit. But he was fine, fortunately. And, hey, even the Washington football team still has a chance in that trash division.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not good. The NFC East is they're just not good.
A couple more takes on the Dak situation. Nick, did the Cowboys sign him again or draft another QB? I doubt they would go into the draft. They definitely have some needs on defense to be addressed in the draft and probably free agency. I don't know. It's going to be a weird situation as far as how that next contract negotiation plays out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess take some of the heat off the coach at least a little bit.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, hey, what are you gonna do? Yeah, Dak got hurt. He was on like this crazy record-setting pace. It's not my fault. But the defense is still kind of your fault, and they suck. So
yeah, the defense is still awful. That's definitely where they need to go in the draft. I mean, it's there was a comment today from one of the executives with Dallas, Stephen Jones, who said, Dak's still our future, which is kind of like, well, he's not under contract, so like, I don't know.
But now he's your future on your terms. Like,
yeah, I guess
if he would have stayed on the pace that he was on, especially with their terrible defense, he would have been blown out records. And then it's like, okay, well, now you got to pay him. But now they're gonna, it's not exactly the same, but kind of it feels like it's gonna be sort of like a baseball arbitration type of thing. Well, like, well, is that ankle solid, or like how then it gets picked apart and it could get ugly. Jerry Jones is pretty, I will say, not great at like paying out guys a lot of money.
Right.
On the side of the players, like, I mean, they get paid a lot, but it's kind of like, oh, the rest of our team still sucks. So
Yeah.
I think he does have, some kind of loyalty attachment to Dak. He does want to keep him around. So I'm hoping he doesn't get totally screwed money-wise when that comes to the table. But it is going to be a story to follow. I mean, through the whole offseason, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, great. And another offseason of Dak contract talk, great.
Yes, get ready. Get ready. It's going to be all hot LeBron takes and Cowboys talk. That's what moves the needle.
Justin might as well become a third member of the show, I think, at that point in time.
Hit us up, Justin. We want your
Justin.
Hot fire takes.
That's right.
And then Cease with the Silva drop. Gambling by not taking a check. Sometime no wing. But, yeah, just hate to see that really happen to anyone. That's just a gross, gruesome injury. Like we were just talking about Alex Smith. I think any neutral fan was just happy to see that he could walk, for one. And, happy that he's actually able to play in a game. And seems to be fine. The bumps and bruises and stuff add up over the course of a season. But
for sure.
He seemed okay after the game. So, fortunately, that Donald and that Rams defensive line is a terrifying way to jump back in. Hey, get back out there. Go with that. Also, the Redskins offensive line is going to be protecting you today. So, have fun with that.
Jeez, yeah. That's a dumpster fire over there as well. Well, speaking of gruesome things, actually, we didn't really talk about it much on Friday, but on Saturday we did have a nice UFC card that featured something that, I mean, if you somehow avoided this, I don't know, because it blew up on the internet Saturday night, but possibly the greatest knockout I've ever seen in my life.
It is up there. Joaquin Buckley, it's definitely nothing I've ever seen before, for one.
Yeah, Joaquin Buckley was taking on Impa Kasangane. Buckley threw a kick that Isangane caught.
His left leg caught, so he had it held here.
And
actually, I have the video, but I have a slideshow presentation of how this went down. But this was mind-boggling, to say the least.
Yeah.
So there's the foot caught, and then just launches off his only plant foot with a reverse kick straight to the mouth. Like,
oh god,
just right down Main Street. I mean, I don't even blame the guy for not defending that, because how would you think that was ever possible?
Yeah, no, that's just that kick's not even available in video games. Like, that's just it. That doesn't even happen. And I mean, Isangane, just like his entire body just like completely stiffened up, and he kind of like just stood perfectly still for about a second, and then just dropped straight back.
Immediately, the eyes were back in his head. You could see on TV, like, you had to wait for the foot that hit him right in the mouth to recoil, but then you just saw a dead body, basically.
I did see a picture Saturday night, and unfortunately I didn't save it at the time, and I couldn't find it today, but there was actually an image of the announcer's reaction to it as it happened, and you just see two guys standing up doing the surrender cobra, just like losing their minds. Like, that was, after I saw it, like I put together a list of like some of my all-time favorite knockouts, and I've just been thinking about like that. It's probably my favorite knockout in UFC history. Like, I just kind of put together a list. I know Ronnie's got like a few pictures that I told him about, but like, I was thinking about like Yair Rodriguez when he knocked out Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie,
that was a gnarly one.
On a last second like ducking upward elbow. Like he hit Jung with 1 second left. Jung hit the ground, and then the fight ended after that. That one was just like crazy.
Out cold too, just completely.
Oh yeah. Of course, I think my all-time favorite knockout, just because of like how insane the moment was Scott Smith and Pete Sell. When Scott Smith got hit in the stomach, was like keeled over holding it. Sell went in for the kill, and Smith just threw just a last-second right, just a desperation right, and then basically passed out from the pain. Jorge Masvidal's 5-second flying knee against Ben Askren, that was a great one.
Yeah.
Uriah Hall on Ultimate Fighter 17, when he did the spinning hook kick on Adam Sella. That was if you watch a fight, you see somebody get knocked out, like, you'll use the expression like, oh, he's dead, or oh, that killed him. that was probably the first time I've ever legitimately said, like, no, I think he's actually dead. Like,
I shouldn't
he
even
really,
say that right now.
Yeah, like I
let's
think
make sure he gets out of here.
like that. It was one that when the fight happened, like Dana White gave the weirdest, like kind of like an O face reaction, but then like after like 3 seconds, like the whole crowd was like, oh no, like let's stop.
Yeah, are we
applauding.
happy about this, or did we just see like a murder?
Of course, we also have Edson Barboza's wheel kick on Terry Adam, which knocked him completely stiff into the ground. The Anderson Silva front kick to the face against Vitor Belfort.
Straight to the mouth.
Yeah, that
Hush,
one.
Hush.
And then, of course, this one's not a UFC one, but I think anybody that's watched any like MMA highlight video has seen Rampage Jackson when he powerbombed Ricardo Arona. Of course, that was legendary as well. But I mean, this one again, like the more I think about it, this one over the weekend by Joaquin Buckley, that just because of how insane the actual move was and just how clean the kick landed, was probably the best knockout I've ever seen.
Yeah, and a lot of reaction too from a lot of high-profile MMA guys echoing that same thing. It might be the best knockout I've ever seen, at least the craziest. I mean, there's no way you can expect that. Like Tyler said, they wouldn't even put that in a video game now because Buckley probably can't ever do that again. Like that was so incredible that I may never see anything like that again. I mean, MMA is relatively new, so you're definitely going to see things going forward that we've never seen before. That's right up there. And in the conversation, I know I saw a video of Buckley and I don't think it was for TV, but a different post-fight interview. And Dana actually just interrupted it, walked up to him and said, I've never seen anything like that. And I'm giving you $50,000 bonus because everyone's blown me up. They've never seen anything like it. I got everyone telling me, like, just give this one guy all the bonuses for the whole night.
Give him submission of the night. I don't even care.
Yeah, just throw it all into one check. And so definitely something that it's just a special moment to witness. Definitely go look up the actual video if you can.
Yeah.
Copyright reasons notwithstanding, you can find it.
Yeah, I mean, that $50,000 bonus is huge to a guy like him. He's on the undercard. He's not a name fighter, so look, chances are probably at most he got $10,000 for accepting the fight, $10,000 for winning the fight. So that $50,000 bonus is going to be just huge for him. And people don't think about it, like that $10,000 just to sign the fight. Like, yeah, it sounds like a lot for one night's work, but that dude's got to pay like for just months of training.
Right.
You're looking at like he's taking time off from probably a real job that he has to do this. So that $10,000 just for signing the fight really doesn't go that long of a way.
Not to mention
on top
the guy
of
that got
taxes.
$10,000 to get kicked in the face.
Kicked in the face.
He got $10,000. So it's like sometimes you win, sometimes no win. But you're not getting like, oh, cool. All I have to do is a couple rounds, get $10,000. Like it goes the other way a lot of times too. So when you take that $10,000 to step in there, it's not just like a sure thing. Like, oh, I'm set for life. Like, totally not. And I think you saw actually if you go and look up the video of Dana just telling him that he was giving him the bonus, he was kind of like, didn't know what to say. He was like, oh man, you make me cry. Like I wasn't expecting that kind of thing because that is a huge amount of money. But definitely something that Dana would be all over as far as like just raising the overall profile of the sport. I mean, wasn't a huge card, not a pay-per-view, anything like that. But that clip's going to get played forever now. And even Dana was tweeting about it like immediately after, like, I'm throwing it up to the fans. This could be, but what do you think as far as like, is this maybe the greatest knockout we've ever seen in UFC? Like, I'm just asking because that was insane. So that was, I've never seen anything like that.
And of course, that was on the pre-show. That wasn't even on the main card. It completely overshadowed the main event, which we had a good bantamweight title eliminator fight where Corey Sandhagen came back and beat Marlon Moraes with a pretty impressive knockout himself. A nice spinning wheel kick, and then jumped on and threw some punches until the ref finally called it. Sandhagen bouncing back from getting just mauled by Aljamain Sterling a couple months ago. So now he's kind of set himself. He's probably going to get that first title shot after the Peter Yan Aljamain Sterling fight happens, whenever that happens.
I think I actually have a video here of Sandhagen waiting for people to start tweeting about his knockout. Dang it!
Yeah,
the loneliest man in the world.
Unfortunately. But no, I mean, good for Sandhagen. I was kind of concerned about how he'd look at, because again, he got mauled by Sterling their last fight. So I was kind of worried how he'd bounce back, but he came back nicely. Again, beat the guy that's officially ranked number one in the UFC rankings, but we all know their rankings don't mean anything.
Yeah.
So, good for him. Again, unfortunately, it's going to be overshadowed, but I think he's okay with that. I believe, we do have one other fight this upcoming weekend here. Again, UFC doing a great job continuing to give us fights every week. We'll have one more fight night this Saturday, and then next week, of course, being the big lightweight championship unification match between Gaethje and Khabib. I don't know if you saw, actually, today somebody asked Khabib about why he wouldn't do, because Dana White is bringing back the Ultimate Fighter, and he wanted Conor McGregor and Khabib to be the coaches for it. And Khabib declined, and his reasoning was like, I already beat this fool's ass. Why am I going to give him any more attention? Which
I don't blame him. And Khabib's a pretty low key kind of guy. Like, he's not really into the chopping it up before the fight. It's just like, all right, I'll be there. Let's go.
Well, and I mean, again, typically when two coaches coach the Ultimate Fighter, that means they're going to fight at the end of it. And
right.
Again, to his point, and look, all the Conor maniacs are going to hate hearing this, but Conor got his ass whooped. Like, it's not, he doesn't deserve a rematch. Like, he's fought once since then, and it wasn't even in the same weight class. Like, Conor doesn't deserve that, and Khabib's not going to give him the time of day. Khabib's focused on Justin Gaethje. He'll probably focus on, I don't know, maybe Dustin Poirier or somebody else after that. But so he gave his reason for not being an Ultimate Fighter, and it made all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, and plus you have to think about, it's like a rematch sort of forced upon you when you're the guy that's like, I mean, I beat the shit out of this guy. Like, do we really have to do this again? And it's also, it's going to be like selling an entire TV show to build up to this thing. So it doesn't really seem like something he would want to be involved with anyway. Just sort of his personality is very
he's pretty low key.
But yeah, I don't blame him at all for not wanting to stir up another circus for seemingly no reason.
Yeah. Anyway, go back, definitely check out that highlight though. Again, you saw the still shots we had of it, but go back and watch it. It's worth watching. It's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Tyler sent it to me, and I just on a loop. Like, but did he? But how? What?
Yeah, I think I sent around a text, and all I said was Jesus. Like, and that was it. Like,
that said it all.
Yeah, that says it all. All right, well, I see we're running up against you here, Ronnie. Anything else you wanted to say before we get out of here?
No. Lakers 17 times world champions, and Raiders. I mean, it'd be nice if you win some more games, but that meant a lot to me, so thank you.
Technically, I guess the Raiders would have possessed the Super Bowl if we're going by lineal, since they did beat the champ. They're the first team to beat the champs.
That's right. They threw them off.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for watching. We'll be back here on Wednesday with the short show. Hopefully, we'll have better news than the Dodgers losing like they're doing right now. I see they're getting blown up in the ninth inning, so good to see the Dodgers are already in postseason form. But stick around here on the network. We got the Book Club for TV with Patrice coming up next. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know the drill. Keep the fire.
Keep the fire. Love you, J.R. Smith.
J.R.